أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First of all, it's a great honor to be here. I want to thank first the Executive Director of Global Washington. And second, I want to thank every one of you that hosted such a wonderful organization that we all gather together here. And I am delighted to be amongst all of you, because I know that every one of you work in different fields and all part of the country and different part of the world. So it's a great work. I congratulate all of you, and I am honored to be here. Thank you very much. I would like to talk to you a little bit about Afghan Institute of Learning and about why did we start the work what we do. You know, as a little girl, when I was living in Afghanistan, life was different. We had a very happy life. I, as an individual, I was a very happy child. I had a happy childhood. My country was not very rich, but we were poor, but we had sufficient. We were not asking for anybody help. We were able to provide for what we need in our own country. We felt secure. The door of our houses were open. We could visit. I remember as a little girl, there was an event that we celebrate. For example, we have New Year, we have Eid, we have different kind of event that we celebrate around the family. So we were celebrating all our event with family, with grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, and we, night and day, very openly, we could go from one place to another. We did not require to lock our door. The door of our house was open. So you could imagine, as a child growing up on that kind of a lifestyle, and you know what's happening today in Afghanistan. 40 years of war devastated Afghanistan and Afghan people. It traumatized children, women, men, the whole nation. And still the war is going on in Afghanistan. Why I did start what I did? The reason I started that I am an individual, I had a privilege of going to the United States and completing my education. What I benefited from that education, that I was able to ask questions, and I was able to have a wonderful teacher, I was able to be in a wonderful facility, and I was able to really enjoy the freedom of speech. And when I was in the United States, my family sent me before the Russian invaded Afghanistan. As soon as the Russian invaded Afghanistan, then I could not go back to Afghanistan. I was continuously my father kept telling me that you cannot come back home because they will kill you. So because of that, I stayed in the United States, and my family were refugees in Iran. So once I finished, I really wanted to go back to Afghanistan because my heart was there. Because as a child, when I was living in Afghanistan, at that time, also we did not have a good facility for maternal child health. Every day that I could live there, I could see that the body of a woman we will carry to the graveyard, or if a body of a child will be carried to graveyard. Always I wanted to be a doctor. So in the United States, of course, I continue my education, but I shifted my field from being a doctor to a public health. But anyway, I continue my work, and once I brought my family into the United States, I decided that's the place that I want to be. I want to go to Afghanistan. And do you know that when I went there, what I found? Julia was very kind and talked to you a little bit about Afghanistan situation and Afghan people. But what I am to talk to you about, when I went to the refugee camp, I quit my job. I had a wonderful job. I was a professor at the University of Detroit in Michigan. And I had a wonderful life. I could stay. But I wanted to go there to see what's going on. I quit my job. I went there. And once I went there, I went to the refugee camp. Day after day, I was facing women that they lost everything. They lost husband, they lost father, they lost brother, And they were sitting in the refugee camp, voicelessly. They will not feel like a human being. They feel like they are just nothing. And they were not able to do anything for themselves. And all these beautiful children sitting around the camp, not doing anything, not going to school. And at that time, I felt to myself, I said, why? I am the same human being as they are. Why I have all this privilege in life and they don't? So since then, we decided that what could transform these children, what could transform these people is education. And at the time, there were 7 million refugees in Pakistan. 7 million refugees. The majority were women and children, because the men has been killed or the men were fighting inside Afghanistan through Mujahideen. So I went camp to camp and tried to see if I can provide education. At that time even, it was very hard because the Mujahideen believed that, well, Russian brought a different system of education, and we are not going to allow our children to go to school. At that time also, we were fighting that education is not good for children. So to tell you the long story short, I was able to convince mullah, going camp to camp, and try to make them a teacher. And they laughed at me. They said, how could you train as a teacher? We are mullah. But my mission was that to really convince them that to open their door for children to be allowed to go to school. In matter of 1 year in Pakistan, Peshawar, Pakistan, from 300 students, we were able to have 27,000 students in the classroom. It was under the tent, it was under the tree, it was in a small house, but whatever way was, innovative, creative way, we tried to prepare an environment that children could go to school. And I personally believe that education is successful if you really provide quality education. When the children are traumatized, when the children are not having school for so long, and they are in different age, so how you encourage them to come to sit in the classroom, especially to come and sit in a classroom that there is no books, there is no chair, there is no, desk, nothing for them. How could you encourage them to stay in the classroom and be challenged? I find out that the only way we could do that if we create a curriculum that these children be challenged. How we could that kind of curriculum? With my colleagues, I tried to write manual. We provided 8 manuals how to teach the children critical thinking. And that revolutionized the system of education. I could proudly tell you today that all over Afghanistan, the critical thinking process and also the pedagogy, that methodology that I wrote is being replicated all over Afghanistan. If they want to admit that AOL published those books or not, it is okay. But right now, the government of Afghanistan, all the NGOs using the same kind of methodology. And that is a very successful methodology. So we were able to work with children. We are not only just educate the children, we educate the women, we educate the children who have not been in school for many, many years, and we continuously doing the work. But at the same time, Taliban took over. When Taliban took over, you should see those stories. Those story was not a story that anyone could have the heart to hear even. How about going through? They were brutal. They really beat women. They beat children. They closed the door of all the schools inside Afghanistan. A woman could not walk in the street without mahram. A woman could not go to a store and buy something. I just tell you a little story here. It's a place to tell you. I heard one of the women talk about her sister to me in Pakistan. She said that her sister had a little child in her arm. And she didn't have a husband because she lost her husband, because Taliban took her husband. And so she went to the shop to buy bread for her other kids in the house. And she had burqa in her head. But she was walking in the street to buy bread. But you know what happened to her? They beat her, and they said, why you are walking without mahram? And she was so mad that she threw herself to them and take her child and threw the baby to them and pick up a pressure cooker from the street that it was by the shop. They were cooking meat in it, and she took this boiling pressure cooker and threw it to the toilet. And do you know what happened? They killed the woman. They beat her. The child was on the street. They beat her because she went walk without mahram. That's the kind of people they were there. And you could imagine if they catch somebody to be able to teach or go to a school, what they do to it. But here I was in Pakistan. I was informed that they need me to come to Afghanistan to build a school, because they heard about our repetition. They heard that in Peshawar, children are going to school all over. And they were asking me to come inside Afghanistan. What do you think I had the courage to say how I could say yes? But you know, when I hear those stories from Afghanistan, I said, yes, we will go. But we have to go very carefully. We have to be very innovative. We have to be very creative. Otherwise, I will be killed, the children will be killed, the teacher will be killed. What was the creative way? We sat with the people, with the community, and we discussed around the table issue that if they are going to protect the school, if they are going to give the teacher from the same community, thus we can go and contract with them. Otherwise, we will not be able to do it. Do you know, by the repetition that EIL built it in Pakistan, Peshawar, the community was willing to do that. They said, yes, we do that. So we signed contract, and we had 80 underground school. But in each school, in a classroom, we're supposed to have 35 students. Do you know how many students we end up? 70, 80 students in one classroom with one teacher. Very fast, we have to develop another curriculum. It's called multitask curriculum. And that multitask curriculum was a way that a teacher could work with different students, and the students could work with each other. And do you know that we had in one classroom from 1st grade through 8th grade? And today I can proudly tell you that, before I go forward, that those students, I had 3,000 students in 5 provinces of Afghanistan. We had mobile library. We had the books were there and was carried from one school to next school because there wasn't a library or there wasn't any resource that they could study. We had mobile library. But do you know that very successfully those teachers are teaching? We provide teacher training, we provide salary, we provide material and supplies. But the way we took those supplies, it was another task. We have to wear chador, first of all. Second, we have to put the books inside the bag of rice or the bag of wheat or the bag of flour. And then not only we go there, we have to be companion with 2 or 3 men who were supposed to be our father or brother or our husband. And that's the way we went to Afghanistan. And every time that we took those books, you know, my heart, inside my heart, it was just like going like maybe 100 miles per hour. Not because I was scared, because I was scared for others. Because if we got caught, it would be the end of everybody's life. There wouldn't be a children, there wouldn't be a school, there wouldn't be a master trainer, there wouldn't be a teacher. The whole system will be completely destroyed and demolished. So that's I call creative or innovative of providing education. We learn how to really protect ourselves. We learn how to go from home to home, from state to state, and try to provide education. Why this? A lot of people ask why. A lot of people are asking me, Sakena, how could you tolerate? Now 20 years I am working in this field. But you know, I love my country. I love my people. Everybody has an image of Afghanistan as killer, as Talib, as Osama, this kind of thing. But the people of Afghanistan are courageous, especially the women of Afghanistan. They are wonderful. They love education. You know, our Prophet told us, it's in the book, that women and men can learn side by side, and they can learn as higher as they could, and they could be in any position as they could want to, if they want to. They can be the leader, they can be the president, they can be anything they want to. And we have that right. But that right was taken away from us. For many, many years, the women of Afghanistan have been violated. Their rights have been taken from them. They were living like an animal. I saw in my own eyes, day to day, how they were treating the women. And that was the reason that I strongly believe that education is the key issue to transform life, to bring status in people's life, to empower women, to make them be able to stand on their own feet, to make them to be able to run business, to make them to be a leader, to make them to be healthy. Do you know that we are running clinic all over Afghanistan? Maternal child health is one of the worst, the second worst in the country. Do you know that from the time we start maternal child health, we reduce the problem 70%, but still we have a long way to go. We try to teach prevention side by side with curative medicine because the woman was sick, the woman was unhealthy. Every woman has 5, 6 children to take care. In a poverty, living in a poverty condition, you know how much they suffer. If they didn't have a health, how could they have a life to provide another child, bring another child? How could those children born from those weak mothers did not have enough nutrition? How could those children function to even be able to learn? So you know that health and education are linked together, side by side. So we have to take that matter also. It wasn't an easy task to build clinic in the area that Talib will attack us. But we did. We went house to house, provide health education. We had nurses going through houses, provide service, deliver baby in the house. That's we did. And today, successfully, I can tell you that those students who went during the Taliban in school, today they are running Afghanistan infrastructure. They are the people who are in government. They are the people who are working with other international NGOs. They are the people who are the head of university. Every time I turn my face, somebody say, hello, professor. They call me Ustad. And they are my students. And that really makes all the difference. Today, the women of Afghanistan are empowered. They are not only getting just basic education. They are learning higher education. Why we are able to stay for 20 years? Why EIL is successful? This is a question a lot of people are asking. One thing that the policy of EIL was that we did not go and impose our program to anyone. We sit and wait that they come and ask for our help. And every community, and every center that we open, and every school that we open, we were asked to. We were asked to because they were trusted us. We built a relationship with the community. We built a relation that they trust us and we trusted them. And we provide secure environment. You might ask, what do you mean by secure environment? Still today, the bomb is exploding into Afghanistan, any city. People, innocent people are being killed. But you know what? We didn't want to be very big. We were a very small organization, and we stay small by means of not having this huge title or huge publicity or huge booklet. We don't have any of those things. We stay in our corner and continuously train people, because the training was the key issue to have excellent teachers in the classroom. Those teachers needed salary. We did pay salary. Yes, volunteerism is very important. But all of you know that if you have a volunteer, they must have to be able to survive themselves. They must have enough to have a comfortable home, a shelter over their head. But in a country that everybody lives in poverty, how do you expect volunteer teacher? No, we give salary, and we give good salary. We train the teacher in good pedagogy methodology. And when we had a good teacher in the classroom, the students were challenged. We have today students from preschool to secondary to high school to university. We in Peshawar, Pakistan, we opened a university and 4 departments: nursing, pedagogy, computer science, and general science. The reason is that because it was needed. We didn't need a big building to have a university, but we start with one house. And do you know that those students today inside Afghanistan running huge organization, because they learn, and they learn very well, very well. And when we talk about quality education, people of Afghanistan, they are simple, they are poor, but they appreciate quality work. When you provide quality service, they appreciate that. They know that. And they could make the difference between quality and not quality. And you know, also, one other thing that really helped our organization, we did not promise something that we could not deliver. We start with the small step, and we went to big step. And every time that we promised something, we delivered that. We did not tell them that we are going to give you big salary, big things, but whatever we could, we did our best. And they know that if we have, we do not hesitate to give them. But one problem today in Afghanistan is that a lot of foreign NGOs come in Afghanistan, and they are really not there for long term. And the people of Afghanistan know that. They are there to run a program, short way, and then go. They don't care if this program is going to be successful or not. Is this program is going to have an impact or not? Is this program is going to really expand or not? They are there to do a job for 1 year or 2 years and leave. One of the reasons also that our organization is successful, because we have a wonderful donor. Our donor is side by side with us, multi-year funding. They believe in our vision, they believe in our work, they send people to monitor our program. They came there, they monitored, they surveyed, and they saw the outcome of it. And they are side by side with us for many, many years. And that's the reason AOL is very successful. As Julia was telling you, today, AOL in every community, and every city, and every village. And you know, as an individual, I believe that Afghanistan will have peace when the women of Afghanistan are leaders. Thank you. Thank you. And you know, for 40 years of war, we do need that peace. People of Afghanistan are tired. I am tired. I am tired of war. I am tired of seeing every day innocent children, innocent women being killed. But you know, the women of Afghanistan count on the international community. I think it's their right to be safe and secure. I think it's their right to be able to have a different style of life. It is their right to be able to work and go like you and me, go to work and have a job. It is their right to have a comfortable environment, comfortable house. It is their right to not live anymore in poverty. It is their right to not let their daughter to marry in the age of 8 to 12 years old because the father decides that the daughter will be kidnapped or will be killed. It is their right to be able to say to the husband that she is my child also. It is their right to be able to have a home, to say this is my home also, it's not only yours. It is their right to go outside and to work and grow and be able to gain knowledge. To not that the father or the husband stop them. And I believe as an individual that you and I, we can make that happen. The women of Afghanistan are there. The children of Afghanistan are there. The progress is taking place. As I said to you before, we have reached in one organization 10 million people, providing service, providing health service, providing awareness, providing gender equality, providing them health education, providing them curative service. We have clinic and hospital. And if with one organization you can reach 10 million people, and I am sure there are a lot of organizations inside Afghanistan, and we can transform that society. I believe that in 5 or 6 years more, the population of Afghanistan will stand up. If the tank and the gun did not solve our problem, I am 100% sure that the problem of Afghanistan will be solved by the women of Afghanistan. I could see that, and I live with it every day, because I see a wonderful, powerful, empowered woman in Afghanistan, and I work with all of them. Today, Afghanistan is still in war zone. Today, Afghanistan is still there, its bomb is exploding and killing people. But also, women are learning. But also, there is another news that the NATO ally is going to leave. That's not a good news. People are asking me, what do you feel? I don't know how to tell you what I feel. I do not want to face the reality of life, but I know the things is there because it breaks my heart to see the investment that we made on women, it go and deteriorate. Because you and I, the international community, we made a lot of investment in the women and children of Afghanistan. And as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneurial individual, I am a social entrepreneur. I have a fellowship from Ashoka, I have a fellowship from Schwab, and I have a fellowship from School Foundation. They are 3 huge organizations with a very specific mission. And if I am part of that, and you know that I know the investment that I make, and my investment is the children of Afghanistan, because they are the future of Afghanistan. And if we are not going to do that, not only Afghanistan is going to be in trouble, the whole world be in trouble. Because if today those problems are in Afghanistan, tomorrow is in our door, anywhere in the world, because they are not disappearing. You could see, and I could see, that they are getting more and more resource. They are getting more and more in power because they have someone is supporting them. But we must overcome that by the civil society of Afghanistan. And that civil society, over half of the population are women. If we encourage the women, we reach the whole nation. And with having the whole nation behind us, and instead of half of the nation, you could see what will happen in that. I could stay here and talk to you many, many more things. But I want to just tell you a small story about the women empowerment. What we are doing in today's world. How I think the theme of the conference was that which innovative and which creative way we could create an environment and a system to change people, to transform people. I tell you what, I have a woman who was like 22 years old, in one village in Afghanistan. I do not want to tell the name or to the site, because that's one of my tactics. I never give the name of my colleagues or my worker or the place where I operate. This woman wanted to come to one of our centers because she found out from somebody else that we have a center. But she really asked for her husband, asked from her family to let her to go. They said, no, you cannot go because you have to take care of the cow, the animal, the field, all those things. She has 2 children. But she begged them that she wants to go. Finally, the mother-in-law, she said, well, I'll let you to go and see what will happen. And then I could stop you any day that I want to. So she accepted the condition. She promised them that she gets up early morning, she do all the work, and then go to the center. To tell you the long story short, this woman, this 22 years old woman with 2 children, faithfully came to the center for almost 2 years. By 2 years that she came, she finished 6th grade. She didn't know how to read and write. For you, maybe will think, well, that is not a big deal. But for me, knowing that she was not able to read and write, she was not able to talk to anybody, she always wear a cover, and today, she is the head of one of our centers. She is the supervisor of one of our centers, and she learned how to do income generation sewing. She paid her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law to take care of her kids. And she continuously came to the center. And not only she learned how to read and write to become a supervisor, then she went to our health education department. And she got training. Now she is the head of one of our health posts. A health post is a post that they run 50 other health mobile clinics. She is advising women and giving health education message. And today when she comes in our office to the meeting. She wear her bouquet, chador still, but she non-stop talking. She is so successful. Every time that I see her smile and laugh and giggle, I just get energy from her. I get so much energy that I invite her and take her to other centers to just talk to other people. Because that's the woman of Afghanistan. That kind of empowerment you don't get every day. How long it takes us to get education? I just want to ask all of you. To get a good education, to be able to implement, to be able to get to the leadership position, at least minimum of 16 years to 20 years. But how come the international community, all the international world expect the women of Afghanistan that in 4 or 5 years they be empowered, they have education that they can run the country? And that's happening today in Afghanistan. That's happening that the NATO ally is going to leave and the donor is going to forget Afghanistan. I think it's unfair for the women of Afghanistan. The women of Afghanistan have been the victim for 40 years, and are they going to be a victim again? Because they are not going to stop. Because they are not the same women that they have been 5 years or 10 years ago. They are different. They transform. They speak back. They want things. They want a good leader. They want a good life. They want good, healthy children. They want few children. They want to have a right. So if they are that kind of woman, they're not going to go back in the corner and be locked. And who is going to fight for them? The men? No. For 40 years, the men did not fight for them. What happened to the men? They abused them more. And they enjoyed that activity more and more. But the women will go in the street, and God forbid, there would be a bloodshed all over. God forbid. I am scared from that day. It would be the women of Afghanistan and the children of Afghanistan will be massacred on the street, like that woman that I talked to you with the child. And that's the reason education is important. That's the reason that innovation and entrepreneurship is very important. That's the reason that we have thousands and thousands of women right now in business. They are traveling to Pakistan, to Iran, to India, and trading. They bring commodity from different countries, and they are the head of a business. And that's the women of Afghanistan, and we want to see that kind of woman. And I could stay and talk more and more, and I think my time is done. And I really appreciate, if you have a question, ask me, and I will be able to answer your question. But also, I am very thankful to Mrs. Gupta, the Executive Director of Global Washington, that gave me this opportunity. I would really appreciate every one of you to share this news with others. Don't think that nothing happened to Afghanistan. Afghanistan improved. But not by the government of Afghanistan, by civil society of Afghanistan. By civil society by themselves. Because they are resilient. They are intelligent, and they worth millions that we put on them. But from all billion and billion of daughter money that we give it to other things, if we give a few billion to the cause of women empowerment, we will be in a different place. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for listening and giving this time for me. Thank you.
As you know, the focus of Global Washington's conference today is on collaboration. And one of the things that's so unique about Dr. Yacoobi is that she has collaborated with just about everyone you can think of, all the way from local citizens, local NGOs, international institutions, businesses, community and religious leaders, religious institutions, men, government ministries, and the military. So, Dr. Yacoobi, what about this collaboration has helped you to advance your work?
Well, I find out that really by yourself you cannot do the work. We are all in this together, and if really we want to accomplish, we must work collectively, and we must work efficiently, and we must work for longer term. For me to work with the government of Afghanistan, it wasn't easy, it still is not easy. The government of Afghanistan is not helping me at all financially. But you know, when the government is stronger and they have the capacity, that helps my work. So as a result, what I do train the government official in leadership. I do train the government official in management. I do train the government official in area of gender inequality. That is the way I feel. I feel that, yes, they are not able to give me any funding, and I so far maybe don't want the funding from them. But the issue is that how much I can collaborate with them. Because I want, you know, finally the government has to take over. We have to improve the capacity of the government, and that's the only way I work with them. That's the way. Thank you.
What's one of the most important lessons that you have learned about collaboration?
When you work with the community and the community trusts you, you could see that day by day the request is getting more, and also they are helping you. For example, maybe they are not able, they are living in poverty, they are not able to help me financially, but they are able to provide a chowkidar, means a doorkeeper. They are able to put a ceiling. They are be able to put a tent. They are be able to do some kind of thing. And that is the only way could happen, community participation, when you have a good relationship. When they trust you, you trust them, and then you work together. And that working together means that you gain the respect of the community stand behind you, and that's the way your work will be better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, audience, so are there any questions? Yes, please. Wait, let's get a microphone. Do we have around? Here we go.
Can you please speak to the opportunities women have in public office?
Thank you. It's a wonderful question, yes. I think today in Afghanistan, first of all, I want to tell you that we have one of the best constitutions in Muslim country than any of them. We have the best constitution. If it's going to be implemented, that's another question. But we do have it. We do have it. And second thing is that already we have 27% women in our parliament seat. But for the first year, maybe they were not the right women who were not chosen by the people. But I promise you, for the second and third time, they are going to be by the people. And also, I'm going to promise you that half of those people who are in parliament, my students, are my colleagues. So that is a beautiful news for me and for you. One of my trainers who became the first woman minister was one of my trainers, Habiba Surabi. And she was a good woman affair. After, they want to bounce her back because she was good, but then they wanted to give her to be an ambassador in some other country. And she asked my advice. I told her, no, choose the part that they're giving to you to this country, be a governor of a province. So she became a governor of Bamiyan. She took that suggestion and she became the governor of Bamiyan. And do you know that they give the worst state that they could give to her? Very poor, very infrastructure completely gone. But do you know that that state is improving tremendously because she is a good governor. I have several of my trainers in the parliament, my students. So that is your answer. But I am hoping, and I know that for sure, that someday one of my people will be the leader, the president of Afghanistan. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And would you also please introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Karen Gillen with Results in Seattle. Our U.S. Congress has not really given adequate funding or attention to education for all, even though bills have been on the table for a while. And if you had the opportunity to write a letter to one of our senators, Patty Murray or Maria Cantwell, what would you say to her about the importance of the United States funding for education?
Thank you. Well, I think that one thing that I will say to the senators, so far I have not gained anything from the government of the United States. I do not work with the government. I don't have USAID money. I don't have any State Department money at all. But my issue, I have been working with Clinton, Hillary Clinton. I have seen her. She is a wonderful advocate of women. But how much she does for the women of Afghanistan, she talks a lot. She really is a very good advocate. But coming around the supporting financially, I have not been able to receive any. She is really talking about me all the time. But my point is that I will say to the Senate that please pay attention to the women of Afghanistan. Don't miscalculate them. Don't think that they are that little women sitting there and not capable. Believe me that today the United States will be having a more successful if they work with the women of Afghanistan. They have a successful result more than what they have today if they did work with the women of Afghanistan. I think that you should invest in the education of women and children of Afghanistan, especially women. Yes, thank you.
All the way over here, please.
Hi. Thank you for coming today, Dr. Yacoobi. My name is Patrick Binns with Westbrook Associates. I wanted to ask if you have had any success in enlisting the wives and daughters of the warlords and power brokers in the provinces to be allies and supporters of your initiative.
I really, to tell you the truth, I work community by community. I work with the elder of the community, but from warlord, I don't see that. But there are somebody that, like Ismail Khan daughter, is the representative of Ministry of Women in Afghanistan. I have been working with her. Working with her means, again, like working with the government. We did the job. We do the work. We just, because if you really want to be running into Afghanistan as an NGO, you have to really every year submit a, what do you call, permission that you really register with the government. So every year we have to renew our registration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Economic, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, because we are working on all those sectors. So I have a very good relationship with the daughter of Ismail Khan, who was the representative of Ministry of Women Affairs. Yes, so we do work sometimes, but please do not take it mistake. EOL always, when want to be partner with somebody or when want to work with somebody, we always do our research before, because we do not want to get involved to something that we later be sorry. So because of that, EOL is not working with the government. EOL is not working with religious group. EOL is non-political, non-religious, and independent. Thank you. Yes.
There's a question way in the back there, please.
Hello, I'm Judy Anderson. I work primarily in Congo, and I was really interested in your curriculum. Is it in English? Or I was particularly thinking about introducing all of critical thinking, the various pieces that you mentioned, and I'm wondering if that's available.
Thank you. It's a wonderful question, first of all. My curriculum is a curriculum that I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to tell you, I spend hours and hours trying to look at pedagogy books, many books. I personally develop a curriculum that today and tomorrow, I think that for another 10 years, that curriculum will be more efficient and update, because we try to do also continuously, we are updating the curriculum. But the curriculum of Afghanistan is the curriculum that we have to work on it, because Afghanistan government does not allow any other curriculum to be implemented in Afghanistan. If somebody tell you that they do, they are telling you wrong. According to the government of Afghanistan, we have to implement the curriculum. Although I am not agree with that curriculum, because it's not learning, not critical thinking. But what we learn, again, being creative and being innovative, I learned how to integrate my curriculum into the curriculum of government, and I have been able to train thousands and thousands of teachers and students in that method. Do I have any material available in English? No, I am sorry, I don't have in English, but I do have material in Persian, and that's it. Sorry. If I had one day big funding, I will publish those books in English, and you can have it.
Okay, we have room for just one or two questions. Any other ones? There are a couple big things in our way, so if you'd like to ask a question, way back there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Huber. I'm with World Vision. Thank you for being here. And building on that last question, actually, I'm interested in hearing more from you about some of the greatest challenges to bringing quality education. You talked about the key being not just getting kids in school. If there's nothing there, it doesn't matter. So what would you say are the greatest challenges in Afghanistan, or really anywhere, to getting quality education?
Thank you. I think that that's very important for all of us as an educator. I really strongly believe that in Afghanistan or any part of the world, I think that the most key issue is to have an excellent teacher in the classroom with a good salary. Because if the teacher is not trained well, could not really challenge the students, and what kind of training, the teacher should be trained in critical thinking, in pedagogy that is encourage or promote question and answer, group work, competition, repetition, and audiovisual, things like that, that when the students challenge to these all kinds of methods, then they are learning better. The second thing that I really believe strongly, which unfortunately we don't have it that much, to have a very good resource. Good resource by means of having good school, have a good library, have good material, good books in it, have a good environment, secure environment. That really is a useful system, and it will have a great impact on the students. And for me personally in Afghanistan and maybe other parts of the world that there is war going on, the first challenge is security. If we have taken care of security, do you know that right now Israel is working for 14 provinces of Afghanistan. We are ready to go to 33 provinces of Afghanistan if the security is available for us. One of the things that is preventing us from going to all those provinces is security. When people come and tell you that they have a program in Kandahar, they have a program in Khost, they are having a program in Paktika, I am sorry to say that. That is not right. Because right now, in a situation that we are, those areas is out. We could not go there. If anybody could go, I will be going. But so far, I'm not in those areas. And that is very important that we go to. Somebody is asking me, what is your vision for Afghanistan? My vision is for Afghanistan is always I said, and I will say today, that there wouldn't be one single child without education. Because I know as education, nothing else could be as powerful as a key issue for bringing peace to our nation as education. Thank you. I hope I answered you.
Well, that is an extremely powerful way to end our conversation this morning. Dr. Yacoobi, we are so grateful to you for coming here today and sharing your wisdom with us. And she is around all the rest of the day, so please take advantage of asking her further questions or talking with her about your work.